Hey everyone, we wanted to take a second to show off our new tool called the Huntmapper. We think it's pretty special. In our opinions, it's maybe the first ever treasure hunting specific created mapping tool. And it addresses a lot of the problems that we had when doing similar tasks in the past, using multiple applications and trying to keep track of things and organizing things. It just kind of gets to be a lot. And a lot of you, I think, understand that as well. And so we kind of break everything down into a few different areas of information here. So up here in the upper left, we have add tools, and so clicking on these can help you add specific like mapping tools, charting tools. And so we'll click on a circle, and let me just zoom into an area over here and say we want to make a circle around Reading to be able to figure out our search area. And so here we have, when you click on it, you can see a highlight of the square mileage and acreage within your circle. You can click and drag, and you get a lat long pop-up that shows you exactly where the center point of your circle is. And same thing for our radius control here, which gives you in miles the radius. Now going over next, we have our cone feature. So you click and drag. So your first point places lat long. Your second point does degrees from north and also distance. So we're going, 25-ish miles and just off, north. And then your third marker is going to be your angle. And so this will give you your degrees out for your cone, your wedge. And so then same thing afterwards, you can click to move on the lat long, you can click to change, and then here as well, changing the angle. That is our second type of tool. So then polygon is our third. Same, you get a lat long control. This then gives you on the second mark, gives you distance between. Same thing for your third mark, etc. You could add as many points as you want. And as you can see, when I do that, I'm just hitting enter to just finish the loop. But also, if you wanted to then go ahead and click back to the original point, that would go ahead and close your polygon as well. For the measure tool, so this is just single point-to-point measuring. So you have, and you can see in this one, you can see elevation as well. So here, we're going to place a point here, and it gives you, a distance. It gives you degrees off north, etc. For the first point, and then second point, go from there. And to close this, you can go close it by entering, or you can click back on that final point there, and it'll close it off. All right, and then our next one, you have markers, and so you can add a marker here. It gives you elevation, lat long, and you can go ahead and change your marker name to test marker one. And we'll get into some other details about markers in a second. So I just wanted to show, this is adding tools. You can add as many as you'd like. Um, for our next feature, we can go ahead and search for a lat long. All right, so if we type in One Lincoln Financial Field Way, we can then hit go, and it will place a marker on the address for the address we just typed in, and then you can go ahead and move this marker. You can go ahead and change the label on this marker as well, but it is going to place it in the area that you put it. You can also do this with lat long, so you could type in exact coordinates of a mark that you want to place, and everything. All the markers are changed. You can go back and change after. And then same for other objects as well. Now we don't have the labels turned on for all of our other objects by default, but you can go down here to your toolbar, and you can change, or you can hit add label, and then we could just change this label to circle. If I could type circle one, and then you can see circle one is there, and it by default will automatically just disappear when you deselect, just because it gets pretty messy the more markers you have open. With this, you can go ahead and change your fill color. You can go ahead and change your line color. You can change your opacity of your objects. So there's 90% opacity, etc. And that's the same for polygons, it's the same for cones, etc. for lines as well. Um, we think that that's pretty cool. So as you start overlaying stuff can get pretty messy, but if you can mess with opacities, you can get it all to look the way that you want it to look. But our next area here that I want to talk about, these are on the right side, our Huntmapper specific controls. And so on the upper right, we have our default profile here. Think of profiles as like hunt filters. So let's say I'm organizing everything for this profile for Lyra. We'll just type in Lyra there, if I can type, and then that'll be our first hunt profile there. And then next thing you know, I start working on another hunt. I'm going to call that um, Veil 4 or and so now I've got two separate profiles. So in my Lear profile, it's all my objects that I've created. In my Veil 4, we can go ahead and create objects similarly. And now when I flip back and forth between them, you can see now you can have up to five of these profiles. We think that that's pretty cool. So you can work on, different hunts at the same time and save everything. The next control here, this is, I think, pretty important for a lot of people. It's when you toggle the map, you get all of your objects in the exact same lat long on a satellite mode map. And so you can zoom right into parks in here, and then you know if your objects are created over a certain area, everything's persisting across the map. So the next thing I want to jump into here is notes, and so we'll say, all right, this is our Veil 4 notes. So let's just type Veil 4 notes, and then we can start typing in, hey, we want a list, and we're thinking, okay, maybe near New Brunswick. Um, let's see, physics trajectory showing, you know, 20 miles north of Trenton, and start building it out from there. We could also do tables, so we can go ahead and say canister is 16 inches, and wind speed is 30 miles per hour, etc. And just keep going. You can add rows and columns, and it keep going. And then also we can add in hyperlinks and change, do highlighting colors, change font sizes, etc. And those notes are saved to the profile that you have selected up here. So if I click back to Lyra and I haven't entered any notes in yet on it, there will be nothing in there. And I go back to Veil 4, and there are all my notes. We think that's a great way to keep you guys organized, keeping notes and tied to each hunt. And we try to keep everything separated by hunt. We feel like that's a pretty good way to be able to organize thought. Our next thing here, I'm going to jump back over to our Lear page since we have more objects. And so in here, if you click on objects, this gives you a breakdown of every object that you have currently in the active profile on the map. And it gives you the name, the label, the lat long, radius, for angle, like ones that include angles, there's degree start and end, opacity, line, fill, etc. And so you can go in and say, okay, well, I just made that cone, and I actually wanted the center point of that cone to be exactly 41 degrees, not 40 in a bunch of decimal places. And so we can go ahead and do that, and it jumps exactly to 41 degrees. It's exact on the money, for what your adjustments are. Same with angle, same with everything. You can change everything to be exact. And we figured this is essential for you to be able to go in and and lock in exactly what you need. um, this next one is the import function. And so if I want to go ahead, you can import GeoJSONs, KMLs, and you can name them all. So let's see. If I want to do, this was Lyra Circle day 10 or something. And if I go through and check GeoJSON, if I go ahead and upload this, it will give us this uploaded GeoJSON, and you can go ahead and move that. But this is the exact object in the exact spot that was created in the platform that it was made on. This is the image overlay feature, and so if I come here and I download, or I mean, I hit an image and I put, let's see, test image. This feature allows you to upload images that overlay on the map. And so here, if you were trying to work with a map, you could overlay this and change the size, the shape, the orientation. So things don't move when you zoom in and zoom out. You can stretch, you can contract stuff. This is all really important for people who like to overlay maps and to be able to, work in a way that would be able to let you manipulate images to be able to hunt for a treasure. So we think this is really important. We think it's super exciting that this is a feature we can offer. Again, this is also available in your objects. Here's your image, test image here, with the lat long there. And then our next feature over here is a share feature. So this allows you to share the, pretty much the active viewport download. And we are working on more advanced sharing features in the future. Just this is what we're working with right now. Also, you can, within a profile, you can delete an individual object. You can clear all. So that clears all within that profile. So if I go to Veil 4 after that, everything's still there. It's just a quick way to get to everything. Down here in the daily circles, now we don't have a hunt currently active, but here, when a hunt is active for one of our hunts, you will be able to see the daily circle automatically populate as you're working on the hunt. So, when the circle changes over at 8 a.m. in the morning, you'll see it happen on your map, and you will have to chart anything there. And then this last feature, so I was talking about earlier how you could go in and you could hit this mark search area button. What's useful here, and you could do this, it's for one object, but even if you have like a ton of objects on here, you can send us your active search area. And so, with our Go Hunting feature, this allows you to share your search area with Veil. We actually think that this is a pretty important safety feature, and not everybody's going to use this, but we're hoping that for people who are especially going out by themselves, you can then go ahead and say, I'm heading out to this area. I highlighted the search area, and just in case anything happens, you guys know, and that way, in case we were ever notified that somebody went missing, we can then release this search area and via this submission, and then hopefully help locate the hunter. That being said, we are not actively going in here. This is not something we use for any type of information. This is just a tool that is, kind of a repository for people to send stuff, just in case they want to be extra safe, and alert people that of where they're going. You could add notes as well, but we think this is pretty important. We hope that this will help, minimize risk when going out there looking. And, especially if you're searching individually, it's always a good idea to give somebody, maybe us, a heads up that you're going out there. So for this iteration of the Hunt Mapper, this is, our specific set of tools. And so everything that you just saw here is included with our Huntmapper subscription, and we try to keep everything as cost effective as possible. And so we're only charging $5 a month for it, and we think that's a fair price given we have like server side costs and mapping costs, et cetera. But we think it will hopefully add a lot to a hunter's toolkit, and the fact that this all persists across devices, so you can do everything on desktop, also do everything on mobile. What you do on desktop changes on mobile, etc. And there's going to be even more integrations coming up with our pending launch of our app, that will even take this a step further within the next couple months. But we think it's really cool. Now, for our treasure hunters, for people who purchase our hunts with the Edge tier, they will get a access to a light version of this, which is all of the object creation tools, but not these tools over here on the right, which are the Hunt Mapper specific tools. We think it's, giving everybody the tools that they need to be able to do our hunts, but we wanted to create something that was a little more advanced for all treasure hunters out there that we think that they could use to solve their own hunts. And so that's really where this came from. But we hope you guys like it. We're really excited about it. I can't wait to see people dive in and give it a shot, and hopefully get some great feedback and keep improving on the platform as we move along. All right. Thanks, guys.